Welcome, everyone. It's a beautiful morning from wherever you're watching us from. I don't know how beautiful it is over there, but I'm not too sure it's beautiful. That much beautiful, given what we're seeing. It's an update from the latest development that we're following for you, and it's really devastating what is going on between Israel and Iran. It looked like the skies that Israel says that they were in control of has now been taken over by Iran, because Iran has also fired a ballistic missile, and not just a ballistic missile. Iran has fired a hypersonic missile into Israel, and it's becoming terrifying by the day. I'm just going to give you some updates on the development about this story. Let's just tell you that Iranian media has reported that the IRGC has launched 10th wave under its Operation True Promise 3 against Israel. Iranian media also released a new video showing Iran launching missiles towards Israel. This was followed by Iran Army Chief Major General Abdurrahman Mozavi warning residents of Tel Aviv and Haifa to evacuate immediately. Remember, Iran has attacked Israel four times in on day 5. That's June 17th, was yesterday, of raging conflict with Jewish state. So just as Israel is asking people to evacuate, that Donald Trump is asking people to evacuate Tehran, and we saw the videos of people actually leaving Tehran with a whole lot of gridlock. They're asking, people to also evacuate Tel Aviv. So it is not something that is going to end anytime soon, and it's quite terrifying. Let's also tell you some other developments that we are following for you as it relates to this issue. We're talking about the triggers. Let's tell you this: the Tehran has confirmed the use of hypersonic missiles against Israel as tensions between the two nations stretch into a 6-day. Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps announced that its latest assault, Operation Honest Promise 3, involved Fatah 1 hypersonic missiles and claimed complete control over the skies of the occupied territories. The developments came as President Donald Trump issued the sternest warning yet to Tehran, saying the U.S. knows the whereabouts of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, but is not going to take him out, at least not for now, calling for Iran's unconditional surrender. Trump also declared that America's patience is wearing thin. So let's tell you some of the 10 key developments so far. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed Wednesday that it had deployed hypersonic Fatah 1 missiles during a fresh wave of strikes on Israel's targets. In a statement aired on state television, the IRGC declared the 11th wave of the proud Operation Honest Promise 3 was underway, boasting it had gained complete control over the skies of the occupied territories. The Fatah 1, capable of traveling at Mach 5, is designed to outmaneuver missile defense systems with a maneuverable re-entry vehicle. That's scary, man. That's scary. And so the President, Donald Trump, intensifies his rhetoric on Tuesday with a direct message aimed at Iran's Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. He says, quote, "We know exactly where the so-called Supreme Leader is hiding," Trump posted on social media. He's an easy target, but we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Trump called for Iran's unconditional surrender, adding, "Our patience is wearing thin." In response to Trump's threats and Israel's strikes, Ayatollah Khamenei issued a defiant message on X, writing, "In the name of the noble Haidar, the battle begins," he also vowed. "We must give a strong response to the terrorist Zionist regime. We will show the Zionists no mercy." The message signals a hardening stance from Tehran as both sides brace for prolonged conflict. It is not over, and I don't think it will be over anytime soon. Now, according to U.S. officials speaking anonymously, Israel had promised a plan to eliminate Khamenei earlier in the conflict. Trump reportedly rejected the plan, fearing it would further destabilize the region. While Israel believed it had a credible operation in place, White House officials advised restraint, emphasizing the risk of deepening the conflict. According to Iranian media, Israel has targeted the Khoji missile production site near Tehran in its latest wave of strikes. The facility is considered essential to Iran's ballistic missiles program and was previously struck by Israel in 2024. Tehran continues to launch retaliatory strikes, some of which have penetrated Israeli defense with deadly consequences. It's quite scary. The world is not yet done with the consequences of the fight between Russia and Ukraine. And now we're getting into this one. I mean, the consequences will be so dire for every single person who is watching this. I really don't know what you think about this. You can drop me a comment. Let me in on what you are thinking or feeling about this back and forth between Israel and Iran. And again, we have the U.S. on the side, threatening to join in this strikes against Iran. Anyways, despite the aggressive tone, Trump has not entirely ruled out diplomacy. He suggested Vice President J.D. Vance and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff could be dispatched to Iran for talks. However, Trump downplayed National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard's earlier assessment that Iran wasn't building a bomb, saying, "I think they were very close to having it." Now, get this. Trump is considering sending Vice President J.D. Vance to Iran. At this time, do you think it's really safe to have the American vice presidents and other top government officials in Iran at this time? I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. The Embassy of Iran in India on Wednesday highlighted remarks by the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, Rafael Grossi, claiming that there is no evidence Iran is pursuing nuclear weapons. In a post on X, the embassy quoted Grossi as saying, "What we reported was that we did not have any proof of a systematic effort by Iran to move towards a nuclear weapon." The statement was part of an interview with CNN, also posted by Iranian Press TV. Grossi reiterated that what we informed and what we reported was that we did not have any proof of a systematic effort to move into a nuclear weapon. This comes amid conflicting reports. According to the Times of Israel, citing Hebrew media, Israeli intelligence recently discovered Iranian scientists had made significant advances in nuclear weapon design, potentially placing Iran just weeks away from producing a bomb. The U.S. State Department also weighed in, reaffirming President Trump's firm stance. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, said spokesperson Tammy Bruce. So there's a conflicting report, and frankly speaking, that's the reason why this is, escalating. The U.S. intelligence is saying there is no concrete proof about Iran developing a nuclear weapon, and Israeli intelligence is saying no, there is significant proof to show that Iran is developing a nuclear weapon. In fact, they are just weeks away to developing a bomb. So who are we to believe in this thing? Like, who are we supposed to believe? Like, are you sure somebody is not planting this in order to really go on these attacks? How are we sure that Israel is not pushing for these kinds of things so that it will paint Iran black, so that everyone starts seeing them as black and then starts attacking? Who knows? I mean, if America's intelligence says there's no proof, there's nothing to show that these guys are developing a nuclear weapon. So where and how did Israel get theirs from? Like, what's the proof? Has Israel shown anybody the proof that these guys are developing weapons? And if they haven't, why should we believe Israel alone? I mean, these kinds of things are something very important. I don't know whether maybe at some point it may have convinced Donald Trump to listen to them and to make him make a move regarding that. I mean, that's part of the reason, again, why I think Donald Trump is also being careful not to go the whole hog, or not to allow Israel to go the whole hog with the plan of destroying everybody, including Khamenei. And by the way, speaking of the leader, Ayatollah, there have been people who have been lined up to even replace him, just in case, you know, the U.S. or maybe Israel targets him and they eventually gets him. The U.S. has also said that they know where he's hiding, and if they know, it's just a matter of time. That is, if nothing happens. Just yesterday, I posted a video of Donald Trump on my shorts, stating clearly that he is winning thing and that Iran should do quickly or should come around quickly for some sort of discussions. And so it does look like Iran is taking a hard stance, giving the post by Khamenei. Khamenei is stating clearly, it's a no-go area. We are going all out on you. We're going to use everything. There's no mercy. So there's a hard stance, there's a stalemate, and there's an issue right now. There will be a major issue if things are not, talked out. But again, let me just continue with some of the updates that I'm following for you at this time. So to some other developments as relates to this matter, Director of the National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, told Congress earlier this year that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon and that Supreme Leader Khamenei had not reauthorized the country's suspended nuclear weapons program. However, President Donald Trump openly rejected that assessment, saying, "I don't care what she said," and insisted Iran was very close to building a nuclear bomb. So this is more like not accepting what your own employees are telling you, but instead you are accepting what either your mind is telling you or maybe what Israel is telling you. So is this anything to go by? U.S. has always been Israel's ally, and there is no way on earth or in heaven that Israel or the United States would step aside and watch Israel burn. I mean, I'm just saying, Israel would always get support from the United States, whether they are the ones that are wrong or whether they're the ones that are right. It's always like that. There hasn't been any time that Israel is involved in this kinds of thing that the United States doesn't support them. And sometimes even UK. I mean, it's always going to be the thing of, oh, they have nuclear weapon, they're going to use it anytime soon. These things have happened before, we can't allow it to happen again. But then again, sometimes you just have to show some proof beyond reasonable doubt that this is going on in Iran so that everyone can be on the same page with you. But you can't just come out and say, oh, you know what, these guys are having a nuclear bomb, they're going to use it anytime soon, we can't allow it to happen. But then how about you show us the proof that these guys are having this? So it goes on and on and on. And now Trump's comments bring him in line with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who sees Iran's nuclear capability as an imminent threat. Gabbard later downplayed the contradiction, telling CNN, President Trump was saying the same thing that I said. We are on the same page. In her March testimony, Gabbard said Iran's enriched uranium stockpile was unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons, but maintained that U.S. intelligence had found no evidence of active weapon development. Military officials have noted that Iran could produce enough material for 10 nuclear weapons within weeks. A senior U.S. official said Trump's concerns were valid, as Iran's uranium enrichment now far exceeds civilian energy needs. Israel has conducted extensive strikes on Iran's nuclear infrastructure, but has not yet destroyed the Fordow uranium enrichment facility, which lies deep underground. The only weapon believed capable of reaching it is the 30,000 pounds GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator, currently operated only by the U.S. Israel is reportedly urging Washington to supply the bomb or directly carry out the strike. That is what Israel wants to do. Israel is not stopping at anything. They are going all out on this. Some of Trump's most loyal supporters have expressed concern about escalating U.S. involvement. Commentator Tucker Carlson and Republican figures like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Steve Bannon have warned against entanglement in another Middle East war. Somebody please explain to Cookie Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Trump fired back online. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And so that's what exactly they have been singing all along. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they're scared to their bones regarding that development. Just to also let you know that the Iranian media has reported that the IRGC has launched a 10th wave under its Operation True Promise 3 against Israel. The announcement came amidst a new ballistic missile attack on Israel. Iranian media also released a new video showing Iran launching missiles towards Israel. This was followed by Iran Army Chief Major General Abdurrahim Musavi warning residents of Tel Aviv and Haifa to evacuate immediately. Remember, Iran has attacked Israel 4 times on day 5, that's just yesterday, of raging conflict with the Jewish state. And it's not looking good. However you want to look at it, it's not looking good. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know what you are thinking. So we also have this update for you. Tensions escalate as Iran confirms using hypersonic missiles against Israel, prompting a stern warning from President Trump, who hints at knowing Ayatollah Khamenei's location. Khamenei vows retaliation, rejecting mercy for Israel. Trump rebuffed an Israeli plan to eliminate Khamenei, fearing further destabilization, while the U.S. military repositions forces amidst evacuation concerns. It is just not looking good. I'm just thinking about the wider conflict that this would cause in that region. We're talking about a total destabilization of that region. We've seen even the cost for Israel. The cost for Israel is in billions of dollars. In fact, a certain report stated that the war alone is costing a day over $750 million, just a day. The war against Iran alone, not the one that's going on in Gaza or the one that's going on with Lebanon or what. The war alone per day is costing Israel more than $750 million. It is that bad. I mean, I'm going to pull up that report, to give you some updates regarding that. And but before that, let me also let you know that there have been some conversation around when and how, maybe if the Ayatollah decides to leave the scene, or maybe he's taken out by the US or by Israel, what next is going to happen? Now, who takes over from him? There are some people, some report that have put out some reportry regarding, regarding Ayatollah himself, if he is slain. If Khamenei is slain, who will rule Iran behind the scenes of Supreme Leader succession battle? Amidst escalating tension with Israel and the loss of key advisors, questions arise about the future leadership of Iran, with Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei increasingly isolated. Potential successors are being considered. Figures like his son, yes, his son is on that list. His son Mojtaba Khamenei, and influential officials such as Ali Asghar Hijazi are in the spotlights. An Israeli bombs hit Israel, Tehran, and top Iranian commanders are killed. 86-year-old Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is more isolated than ever. This has led to the growing questions about who could replace him if he dies. Khamenei has lost several of his closest military intelligence advisors in recent Israeli airstrikes. Among the dead are Hossein Salami, the commander-in-chief of Iran's Revolutionary Guards, Amir Ali Hajazeba, heads of the ballistic missile program, and spy chief Mohammad Kazemi. These men are not just senior officials, but central figures in Khamenei's advisory circle. The loss of the top leaders has raised doubts about how strong Iran's leadership is and what might happen to the regime next. For now, Khamenei remains in power. He retains the final say on all major decisions in Iran, from war to judicial appointments. Those familiar with his leadership describe him as extremely stubborn, but also extremely cautious, a mindset credited with keeping him at the top since 1989. As US President Donald Trump warned that Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is an easy target and admitted that US knows exactly where he is, speculation is growing over who might take over if Khamenei is eliminated. Though Trump said there are no current plans to kill him, he added, our patience is wearing thin, raising fears of a possible strike. With Khamenei increasingly isolated and Iran under attack, here are the top contenders who could succeed him if the unthinkable happens. Mojtaba Khamenei. Mojtaba, the Supreme Leader's 55-year-old son, is a mid-ranking cleric who has remained largely out of public view. He is believed to play a key behind-the-scene roles in coordinating security and political affairs and is particularly close to the Revolutionary Guards. Many observers believe Khamenei has been quietly grooming him for succession. However, a dynastic transfer of power may face resistance even within Iran's conservative establishment. Ali Asghar Hijazi, as the deputy for the political security affairs in the Supreme Leader's office, Hijazi wields enormous influence behind the curtain. Reuters had described him as the most powerful intelligence official in the country, with direct oversight of security operations and close ties to both the guards and the clerical elites. He is not a cleric, but his proximity to Khamenei gives him considerable weight. Remember that we're talking about people that may most likely replace Khamenei if eventually he leaves the scene. If Israel decides to strike or US decides to strike, these are the people that may most likely replace him. His son has been touted as one. And again, Ali Asghar Hijazi, which I just read a little bit of his profile. And the next person is Mohammed Gopayegani. Mohammed Gopayegani is the longtime chief of staff in Khamenei's office and one of the most trusted aides. He is known for being loyal and keeping a low profile. While not well known to the public, his deep knowledge of how the system works and his central role behind the scenes make him a possible surprise candidate or key player in choosing the next leader. Ali Akbar Velayati. Ali Akbar Velayati, a former foreign minister and senior advisor to Khamenei on foreign affairs, blends religious knowledge with years of government experience. He sits on the Expediency Council and strongly supports Iran's regional alliances. Though he is respected and trusted, his old age and poor health could work against him. Although we know that old age hasn't really stopped anything ever since. So these are some of the updates regarding the developments with Iran. The people that might most likely replace him when he leaves or when he eventually dies or when he, taken out, because that is what it's looking at. Khamenei has said clearly that there is no backing down. He's called the United States threat a bluff, and then they are going all out to attack Israel, to give Israel back-to-back whatever it is that they want. They have just released a hypersonic missile onto Israel and taking over their skies that Israel had announced that they've taken over some few days ago. And so it's just crazy out there. And one cannot really imagine what is going to happen next. And next on the list of the persons who might most likely replace Khamenei is Kamal Karazi. Kamal Karazi, a former foreign minister, now leads Iran's Strategic Council on Foreign Relations. He sounds more moderate than hardliners, but has always stayed within the regime's limits. Fluent in English and experienced at the UN, he helped shape Iran's diplomacy after the nuclear deal. Some in the government see him as a skilled technocratic option. Ali Larijani, former parliament speaker and ex-head of Iran's state broadcaster, comes from a well-known clerical family in Qom. A conservative with a practical approach, he is close to Khamenei and the security forces, but also Seen as somewhat independent, his experience and loyalty to the regime make him a possible compromise candidate. Indeed, the Assembly of Experts, Iran's constitution gives the power of succession to the Assembly of Experts, an 88-member body of senior clerics elected every 8 years. This group is expected to deliberate in secret and could even appoint a leadership council rather than a single supreme leader. Many believe Mojtaba's chances will depend on whether the assembly members are united, divided, or coerced. Indeed, it's a potpourri of issues regarding these developments. I want to really appreciate every one of you for staying put for the updates regarding this. It's not going to end anytime soon, like we have seen the headlines so far regarding this update. Trump is urging both sides to make a deal while signaling possible U.S. involvement. Israeli President Herzog has visited a Tel Aviv neighborhood hit by an Iranian missile. To fuel depot in Iran are on fire after being hit by Israeli airstrikes. German foreign minister asked Middle East leaders to talk to Iran. So, what are the developments regarding this? Iranian civilians are caught in the middle of the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran. Iranian American analyst Holly Dagres says ordinary Iranians are powerless in this conflict, said Dagres, a senior fellow at the Washington Institute think tank, in an interview. They don't have shelters. They are being caught in the middle of this war, and it's really impacting their day-to-day lives right now. She also warned that while Israel's killing of top military officials and nuclear scientists are a big blow to Iran, Israeli attacks are not taking out the regime's thinking. It still exists because there's other people to replace them. Dodgers also said that it doesn't believe Iranian authorities will seek a diplomatic solution to the conflict unless there is a de-escalation on the Israel sides. And of course, you all know that Israel is not de-escalating anything anytime soon. Iran told mediators Qatar and Oman that it will not negotiate while under attack. An unnamed Iranian official told news agencies on Sunday. Both the French AFP news agency and Reuters carried the same quote, citing an unnamed official. The Iranians informed Qatari and Omani mediators that they will only pursue serious negotiations once Iran has completed its response to the Israeli preemptive strikes, the official said. The unnamed official also denied that Iran had reached out to Qatar and Oman with a request to engage the United States to broker a ceasefire with Israel and potentially renew nuclear negotiations. The official described such reports as inaccurate. Iran has scheduled to hold another round of nuclear talks with the United States on Sunday, but Iran said it wouldn't attend talks about its nuclear program while Israel was attacking it. The nuclear talks were mediated by Oman, which, alongside Qatar, has a history of regional mediation, including between Iran and Israel. Over 220 killed in Israeli attacks on Iran. Iranian health ministry says Iran's health ministry said 224 people have been killed since Israel started attacking the country in the early hours of Friday. Over 1,200 have also been injured. Health ministry spokesperson Hossein Kemampour said in a statement on X, adding that many were hospitalized. 90% of the victims are civilians, Kemampour added. Iran earlier said it would begin opening mosques, metro stations, and schools to serve as bomb shelters. It is not looking good from there even. An Israeli strike on Tehran on Sunday killed Mohammad Kazemi, the intelligence chief of Iran's Revolutionary Guards, Iranian media says. 3 intelligence generals, Mohammad Kazemi, Hassan Moghadeh, and Mohsen Bagheri, were assassinated and fell as martyrs, the official's IRNA news agency says, citing a Revolutionary Guard statement. The news was also carried by Iran's semi-official Tasmin news agency. European Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen stressed that Israel has the right to defend itself and Iran is the main source of regional instability. In a phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, it reiterated the commitment to peace, stability, and diplomatic efforts leading to de-escalation, von der Leyen said on a post. Van der Leyen also outlined that the EU had consistently voiced strong concerns about Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs, arguing that those were the same missiles indiscriminately hitting not only Israel but also Ukraine. Europe also has always been clear: Iran can never acquire a nuclear weapon. There is an urgent need for a negotiated solution, she added. The EU Commissioner also said she discussed the unacceptable humanitarian situation in Gaza with Netanyahu. I reiterated our urgent call to allow all humanitarian aid to reach civilians in need immediately, she said. The resumption of the ceasefire and the immediate release of the hostages so that a permanent end of the hostilities can be finally achieved. Indeed, then how much of this can really work? But there's something else, really. There's something else that's running through my mind. Who is bankrolling Israel? Because I mean, you cannot be bleeding more than 10% of your GDP in servicing this war. I mean, we're talking about war against Hamas in Gaza, war against the Hezbollah, and now war against Iran. Who is bankrolling Israel? And what is the cost specifically? Because I heard of several reports. Some say per day against Iran is more than $750 million, all right? Just around that range. I've also heard about the fact that Israel is losing 10% of its GDP into this. And it is mind-boggling. I mean, who does that? We know, of course, Israel is a top country, no doubt. It was a strong economy, no doubt. But there is no way they would be doing these things without a help from the United States. Like, who is bankrolling Israel? I don't know. You have an idea? Let me in on it. Who is really bankrolling Israel? You have an idea? Maybe some people would say because the United States is an ally of the of Israel, and they might be, you know, throwing some things here and there. But then again, to what end really? Some would say, well, even if it is 25% or 25 to 30% of their GDP, they don't mind, as long as there's no devastating cause of using, the missile on their country or the nuclear bomb on their country. I mean, the cost of using 25% of your GDP in servicing a war and getting it done or preventing it at the very least is far better than your reaction when they use it on you. I don't know whether that's the thinking of those who are in Israel. But again, let me in on what you think. You can send me a message on this platform, on our chats here on this platform. Just let me in on what you're thinking about this. Who is really bankrolling the Israelites? Is it the United States, you think? Or do you think maybe, just maybe, they have all planned this out and they don't even mind going as far as 25% of the GDP and using to service this war? What exactly is going through their mind? This is something that I actually would love to discuss on regarding this development. But it's been one hell of a 33 minutes bringing this to you. Thank you so much for being part of the broadcast. But again, just to let you know about this development, it's been one that has been on for the past 6 days, and it does not look like it is going to end anytime soon. As the conflict between Iran and Israel enters its 6th day, an Iranian Revolutionary Guard spokesman declared that Tehran now holds complete control over the skies above Israel. The bold claim follows the launch of hypersonic missiles in what Iran calls Operation Honest Promise 3. While Israel's missiles defense system have intercepted many incoming attacks, some Iranian missiles have breached and caused damage. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei has vowed to show no mercy in response to Israeli aggression. So it's been an interesting development all through this last 6 days. Iranian media has also reported that the IRGC has launched 10th wave under its Operation True Promise 3 against Israel. The announcement came amidst a new ballistic missile attack on Israel. Iranian media also released a new video showing Iran launching missiles towards Israel. This was followed by Iran Army Chief Major General Abdurrahim Muzavi warning his residents of Tel Aviv and Haifa to evacuate immediately. Remember, Iran has attacked Israel 4 times on day 5, June 17th, of raging conflict with the Jewish state. It's not looking good. However, you want to look at it from what side you want to look at it, where this is headed, maybe a third world war. I don't know. Russia is just standing by and looking at what's going on because, quite frankly, it doesn't want to get involved with its complication that's going on with the likes of Ukraine. They already have their hands full. I'm sure if their hands wasn't full, maybe they might be having some taxi support for Iran. But as it stands, they have their hands full on the front of the Ukrainian war. I mean, the war hasn't even gotten off. These consequences of the war between Russia and Ukraine. But look where we are. Can we really still afford these types of wars? Can we really afford another war in the Middle East like this? Can we sustain it? And to what extent can we really do it? It's something that we should talk about and even be sure to look at very well. So what exactly is the cost of this particular war on Israel? What exactly is the cost of this particular war on Israel? I mean, a whole lot of reports everywhere are stating that this is becoming terrifying, especially for Israel. The thinking for Israel maybe might not be one that is embedded into the economic loss for them, but it's for their safety and for their survival. An Israeli conflicts with Iran heads up. The war is costing the nation almost $725 million a day for military cost alone. This is revealed by Brigadier General Reem Aminach, a former senior defense officer and financial consultant to the IDF Chief of Staff, reported Ynet News. Aminach disclosed that Israel spends about $1.45 billion in merely the initial 2 days of combat. Did you get that? It is terrifying, this amount that has been spent. Did you hear that? Aminach disclosed that Israel spent about $1.45 billion in merely the initial 2 days of combat. This includes offensive expenses, such as Israel's initial attack on Iran. That included flight hours and munitions, which cost $595 million, and the rest of the amount was spent on defensive expenses such as missiles, interception systems, mobilizations of reserve troops as per the report. While his estimated calculation excludes damage to civilian property and broader economic fallout, according to Ynet News. He highlighted that these are direct costs only, adding that indirect costs, including impact on gross domestic product, cannot be measured at this stage. Even though I've seen some reports saying that it's costing 10% of Israel's GDP, some say it's 15%. Israel's finance ministry had already set a deficit ceiling of 4.9% of GDP for the current fiscal year, which is about $27.6 billion, reported Ynet News. Even though the country's budget includes an emergency reserve, most of it was already used during the war in Gaza and does not account for the ongoing conflict with Iran, as per the report. The ongoing war has led to a downward revision in the Israel's economic outlook as the ministry reduced its 2025 growth forecast to 3.6% from 4.3%, reported Ynet News. Is Israel really spending $725 million every day? Yes, they are. That's the current estimate, and it only covers direct military expenses like missiles, jets, fuel, and deploying troops. That is what they spend daily. How is this affecting Israel's economy in the long term? The government has already lowered its growth forecast for 2025 as per Ynet News report. In fact, it says that there might be even problems, much more problems. That's the reason why, the United States is helping out. The United States can help bankroll some of these issues, and the issues are so numerous. We're seeing that the oil prices have spikes amid fears that Israel-Iran crisis could spiral into a broader conflict involving the United States. Brent North Sea crude and West Texas Intermediate, the two most popular oil benchmarks, rose 4.4% and 4.3% respectively on Tuesday as US President Donald Trump demanded unconditional surrender from Tehran. Indeed, the benchmark stood at 76.45 per barrel and $74.84 per barrel, respectively, following the jump. Oil prices edged up further in early trading on Wednesday, with both benchmarks about 0.5% higher as of 3:30 GMT. U.S. stocks fell on the rising geopolitical tensions overnight, with the benchmark S&P 500 and tech-heavy Nasdaq composites declining 0.84% and 0.91% respectively. Israel has bombed multiple oil and gas facilities in Iran since Friday, including the South Pars gas field, the Fajar Jam gas plant, the Shahran oil depot, and the Shah Ray oil refinery. While there has been little disruption to global energy flows so far, the possibility of escalation, including the direct U.S. involvement in Israel's military offensive, has put markets on the edge. On Tuesday, Trump ratcheted up his rhetoric against Iran, adding to fears that his administration could order a military strike against Iran's uranium enrichment facility at Fordow in a thinly veiled threat against Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Trump said a Truth Social post that U.S. knew his location but would not have him killed, at least for now. Iran has the world's largest, or third largest reserves of crude oil, right? Iran has the world's third largest reserves of crude oil and second largest reserves of gas, though its reach as an energy exporter has been heavily curtailed by US-led sanctions. So the country produced about 3.99 million barrels of crude oil per day in 2023, or 4% of the global supply, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Iran also sits on the Strait of Hormuz, which serves as a conduit for 20 to 30% of global oil shipment. Nearly all of Iran's oil exports leave via the Kang Island export terminal, which has so far been spared from Israel bombing. In the context of seeking to destabilize Iran, Israel may choose to strike its oil exports, believing that working to finish off a hostile regime is worth the risk of alienating allies concerned with potential price escalation. Clayton Segal, a senior fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, D.C., wrote in an analysis on Monday, Israeli strategists are likely well aware that Iran's oil export capacity is quite vulnerable to destruction. And so it goes. Those are the latest updates regarding what's going on across the Middle East, especially as it concerns this war between Iran and Israel. For the meantime, I really don't know what it will look like if America decides to step on this particular war. I'm just thinking, what's going to be what's it going to be like if America decides to step on these issues? What's going to happen? Would more countries back Iran? Would Iran go this whole hog? How strong is Iran to take on these two fire powers? I mean, these are you talk about countries with a huge firepower. You cannot go wrong with what's going on with Israel and the alliance between Israel and the United States. Cannot just imagine how Iran would survive these two countries if they decide to attack it. So what's the way forward? Iran decides to sheath their sword, or maybe Israel stops the bombing and then allows Iran to talk about it, or US goes ahead with this threat to take away Khamenei, to kill him, to destroy the country, and then maybe hopefully leave the civilian out of it. I mean, we've seen him make mention of people leaving Tehran. The US president has said the residents of Tehran should leave. And we've seen videos of people leaving Tehran. That's the capital of Iran. We've seen him make comments like, Ayatollah, we know where you are we know where you are staying, we know where you are, but we will not kill you, at least for now. So you have the chance to start talking, to start, accepting the nuclear deal between you and Israel and the world. And so Iran's response has been quite hard and harsh, and they're not looking towards resolving this matter because they feel that they have been dealt a huge blow and they just have to respond the way and manner that Israel did kill the heads of their department, heads of their security, and of course heads of their sciences department as relates to their nuclear capabilities. So there's a whole lot happening that so many people are looking out for and are hoping that this comes to an end. I'm not sure the world would be able to afford another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years war. I'm not too sure we would want to get to that point. But then again, I've given you some updates about this. For those who are joining us now, I'm so sorry. You can always watch it because it's going to be placed on the platform on my live feed. So I want to appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one. My name is Charles. Have yourselves a beautiful day just ahead.